You're watching the news. I'm Amata Balachandra. Let's get straight to our top story. We're starting off with updates from the Parliament now. Union Minister of Women and Child Development, Smriti Irani, has said in the Rajya Sabha today that the protection of women and children in the country is a priority for all, but condemning every marriage as violent and every man as a rapist is not advisable. Her comments came in response to CPI leader Vinod Vishwam's supplementary query on marital rape. He sought to know if the government had taken note of Section 3 of the Domestic Violence Act on the definition of domestic violence, as well as Section 375 of the IPC on rape. Smriti Irani went on to say that senior member knows that Rule 47 of the procedures in the Rajya Sabha disallows elaboration on a subject that's currently sub judice. She said the government's endeavor is to protect women in this country in collaboration with state governments, and that currently there are over 30 helplines that are functional across India, which have assisted over 66 lakh women. If you remember, the issue of marital rape is before the Delhi High Court. It is hearing a batch of petitions to strike down the exemption from prosecution for the offence of rape granted to husbands under the Indian Penal Code. Also, Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal said today that India is on track to achieve the 400 billion US dollar export target in the current fiscal and is negotiating trade agreements with countries like the UAE, Canada, and the EU. In a reply during question hour in the Lok Sabha, he said the prices of most of the commodities, including petroleum products, are prevailing high, and because of this, there is a stress in all sectors. However, international prices of finished products have uh, commensurately increased, and hence exports of these products have not faced detriments, he said. Now, Union Minister Nityanand Rai has said that as many as 439 terrorists and 109 security personnel were killed in 541 terror incidents in Jammu and Kashmir since Article 370 was repealed on the 5th of August 2019. Replying to a written question in Rajya Sabha, Rai said that 98 civilians were also killed in these incidents, and private properties worth about 5.3 crore rupees were damaged since then. He also added, and I quote, during these incidents, no significant public property has been damaged. Also, taking a dig at the ruling government, speaking in the Lok Sabha, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi has said that the current government has made a fundamental mistake in its foreign policy, which brought Pakistan and China together. He accused the government of using the judiciary, the election commission, and Pegasus spyware as instruments to destroy the voice of the Union of States. Now, he said that there are now two distinct Indias. He said one for the rich and one for the poor. He said, and I quote, the gap between the two is growing. He also went on to say that this is the single biggest sin. Taking a dig at the government, he said, and I quote, this is the single biggest sin you have committed against the people of India. China has a clear-cut plan which they have implemented in Doklam and Ladakh. This is a very serious threat to the Indian nation, end quote. He also went on to say that the problem of unemployment in the country is the worst in 50 years. Moving away from news from the parliament to COVID right now, according to the WHO, a recently discovered subvariant of the highly contagious Omicron coronavirus variant has now been detected in 57 countries. Now, in its weekly update, the WHO has said as of Tuesday that in some countries, the subvariant now accounts for more than half of all sequenced Omicron cases. It said that little is known yet about the differences between subvariants, but several studies have suggested that the BA.2, also known as a stealth variant, was more infectious than the original sublineage. Meanwhile, India has reported 1.61 lakh new COVID cases and 1,733 deaths in the last 24 hours. The daily positivity rate has dropped to 9.26% from 11.6%. Now, I'll tell you what different states are reporting at this point in time. Kerala has reported 52,199 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours. Karnataka has reported 20,505 new COVID cases, and Bengaluru alone has reported 8,850 new COVID cases. Mumbai has reported a slight uptick in the numbers. It's at 1,128 new COVID cases, slightly more than what was reported yesterday. Yesterday's number was a little over 800. In the last couple of days, we've seen that number remained constant. In fact, Mumbai has been reporting a little over 1,000 cases in the last 1 week. So that's good news. Moving on now, the Union Ministry of Health has requested states and union territories to accelerate the second dose coverage of COVID-19 vaccine among 15 to 18 years of age. Now, in a letter to the concerned officials, Union Health Secretary has said, and I quote, I hereby request you to direct the concerned officials to accelerate the second dose coverage amongst due beneficiaries aged 15 to 18 years, while also ensuring that remaining beneficiaries for first dose also receive it in a time-bound manner. End quote. Also in the news, Pfizer on Tuesday has asked the US to authorize extra low doses of its COVID-19 vaccine for children under 5, potentially opening up the way for the very youngest Americans to start receiving shots as early as March. Now, the Food and Drug Administration had urged Pfizer and its partner BioNTech to apply earlier than the companies had planned and before it settled if the youngsters will need 2 shots or 3. The FDA has now said that it will convene a panel of independent researchers and physicians in mid-February to help review the data that Pfizer has presented. Meanwhile, the US FDA has granted full approval to Moderna's Spikevax COVID vaccine. Now, Moderna's COVID vaccine had been available under the FDA's emergency use authorization for individuals aged 18 and above since December 18, 2020. Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine is the second one after Pfizer's COVID vaccine in the US to receive full approval from the FDA. Moving on to other news coming in from across the country, apart from COVID right now, the Delhi Commission for Women has issued summons to the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Shahdara, to give protection to the 20-year-old woman who was abducted and allegedly gang raped by her neighbors and paraded in Delhi's Shahdara last week. The Commission has said that it is looking for an immediate plan to protect the survivor and her family as the accused have a criminal background. So far, the Delhi police have arrested 9 people and apprehended 3 minors in this case. The Delhi police also went on to say that they have constituted a special investigation team in this particular case and that all the accused named in the FIR have been caught. Now, the DCW in a statement has, as of today, said, and I quote, the Delhi police has yet to provide the DCW with details of measures being taken for the protection of the survivor and the family. Moreover, the CCTV footage of the incident has not been provided yet. DCW chief met the victim who has expressed fear for her life given the criminal background for the accused persons. Her younger sister was also harassed and a separate FIR has been registered for the same. Some tragic news coming in from Jharkhand as well. According to officials, 5 people, including 4 women, were found dead in the Dhanbad district of Jharkhand after they were trapped in an open cast coal mine, part of which caved in. The incident occurred on Tuesday morning at the Eastern Coalfields open cast mine in Dhanbad. Now, according to the Indian Express, it is reported that officials have said that following rescue efforts, 3 women and 1 man's dead bodies were brought out, and that all 5 had gone to the mine to get coal and sell it in the market as well as use it for their homes. Also in the news, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has written to 37 leaders, including Sonia Gandhi, Lalu Prasad Yadav, Farooq Abdullah, Arvind Kejriwal, Uddhav Thackeray, Akhilesh Yadav, among others. And he's invited them to nominate their party representatives to the All India Federation of Social Justice, which is a platform Mr. Stalin formed on Republic Day. He has said in that letter that the country is under threat of bigotry and religious hegemony. He mentioned that these forces can only be fought if all who believe in equality, self-respect, and social justice unite together. Moving on now, Congress has announced that it has decided not to field any candidate against Samajwadi Party Chief Akhilesh Yadav and Shivpal Yadav in the upcoming UP elections as a gesture of courtesy. Now, Akhilesh Yadav is contesting in the state assembly elections for the first time from the Karhal seat. Now, the Samajwadi Party, despite its on and off relationship with the Congress, does not field candidates against Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. This time, the two parties have not renewed their alliance after the disastrous outcome of the 2017 joint venture. Also in the news, India and Nepal on Tuesday signed a memorandum of understanding for the construction of a motorable bridge over the Mahakali River. Now, India is going to bear all the costs of the construction of the bridge as part of its effort to enhance cross-border connectivity between the two countries. Moving on now to environment news. According to a study, extreme heat in the world's oceans passed the point of no return in 2014, and that has now become the new normal. Now, scientists have analyzed sea surface temperatures of the last 150 years, which has risen because of global heating. Now, they found that extreme temperatures occurring just 2% of the time a century ago have occurred at least 50% of the time across the global ocean since 2014. Now, in some hotspots, extreme temperatures occur 90% of the time, severely affecting wildlife. The study also says more than 90% of the heat trapped by greenhouse gases is absorbed by the ocean, which plays a critical role in maintaining a stable climate. Moving on to business news right now, a day after the government announced that income from digital assets will be taxed at 30%, there are some interesting comments that have come in from Finance Secretary T.V. Somanathan. In an interview with Bloomberg Television, he said, and I quote, "They are in a gray area. It's not illegal to buy and sell crypto. We have now put in a taxation framework that treats crypto assets the same way that we treat winnings from horse races or from bets and other speculative transactions," end quote. Finance Secretary T.V. Somanathan also in an interview with ANI interestingly said, and I quote, "Bitcoin, Ethereum or NFT will never become legal tender. Crypto assets are assets whose value will be determined between two people. You can buy gold, diamond, crypto, but that will not have the value authorization by government," end quote. Now, considering the new guidelines that have come in and the new announcements that have been made by the budget by the finance minister yesterday, you're wondering whether you should hold or sell crypto assets. Do take a look at the conversation that Peter D'Souza has had today with crypto expert, and that's up on our YouTube channel as well. Let's now take a look at what else is making news across the globe. Focusing on Ukraine crisis at this point in time, Russia president has accused the US of trying to draw his country into a war in Ukraine. He said America's goal was to use a confrontation as a pretext to impose more sanctions on Russia. Mr. Putin also said that the US was ignoring Russia's concerns about the European expansion of NATO, the Western military alliance. This also comes after US Secretary of State Antony Blinken tweeted that the US was, and I quote, "committed to preventing a conflict that is in no one's interest," end quote. Now, time and again, different nations, including the US, have said that, have accused, in fact, of Russia of planning to invade Ukraine, but Russia has so far denied all of those allegations. Moving on, speaking about the crisis, Canada's Defense Minister Anita Anand on Tuesday said, and I quote, "Russia can choose to negotiate with a view to de-escalation, or it can face harsh economic sanctions," end quote. Now, Canada said that it's ready to support Ukraine and the NATO alliance. Also in the news, the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights on Tuesday said that at least 1,500 people were killed in the year-long anti-coup demonstrations in Myanmar. UN spokesperson said that at least 11,787 people were unlawfully detained in Myanmar in that period, including 8,792 who remain in custody. Moving on to sports news right now, Beijing has reported 3 new COVID cases on Wednesday, as officials have said that the virus situation is now under control, and this especially with the Winter Olympics, which is set to open later in the week. The three cases reported in the 24-hour period from Tuesday to Wednesday all involve people under some sort of quarantine. Now, the Associated Press has said that the city government spokesperson has said, and I quote, the current pandemic situation in the capital is overall controllable and it's headed in a good direction. Beijing is safe, end quote. One piece of good news before we wrap up things here on this bulletin. Uttar Pradesh has achieved the milestone of vaccinating its entire eligible adult population with the first dose of the COVID vaccine. Now, according to TOI, a senior health official has said, and I quote, the estimated adult population to be vaccinated in UP is 14.74 crore, and as of Monday evening, the entire chunk has taken at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccination. End quote. That brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching.